And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me, I have Charlie with me. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
And tonight we are actually reviewing Hawkeye season 1, episode 3. And this movie is called, well, not this movie, but this episode is called Echoes. And I really have to say, I really enjoyed this episode compared to these first two episodes. I feel like there's a lot of heart, a lot of emotion in this episode. The stunts were really good in this episode. Yes, it has some quirkiness, some silliness in this episode, but I really liked it. And of course, this also opens up to that basically where the second episode leaves off at, which is in a KB toy store warehouse, which I had total nostalgia at seeing that because I'm like, this is a store that I used to shop at as a kid and going to KB toy stores. I was totally geeked out over that, and then you wind up seeing the tracksuit Russian gangsters again and everything. They start interrogating them. Maya comes out, and let me just tell you this: Maya to me is very threatening, especially when you go into her origin story at the very beginning of it between her and her father. And that's one of the things I really liked about it was the fact with the father and her, the connectivity with her and her father, because it opens up where she's in a regular classroom. And at first I thought maybe it was like an overseas classroom because of a Muslim teacher. So I was like, okay, so is this in the United States still, or is this overseas? But then you realize it's just a regular classroom that her father put her in. It's not as, and here's the thing: Maya's actually deaf, so she's having to adapt into regular education. And as a matter of fact, she even asks her dad, "I thought you put me in a school for deaf." She goes, "No, I don't really have money for that or anything like that. You're going to learn how to do both worlds. You're going to learn how to cope with your hearing and learn to fit in with all these other regular kids and everything too." So I really like that aspect of trying to balance that part out. I know. What about you though?
I thought it was an interesting origin about when I was like, took me a while to figure out, okay, what's going on. I'm like, I know what's going on. But I think the scene that for me that I really like was getting really excited for is you see the dad leave, and you see this big hulky. You don't see the face. You see us. You hear a laugh, and then you see him, and then you see like parts of his suit and his legs. I knew instantly where we're going with this, and any Daredevil fan should be knowing where we're going with this because if you know what he's looking like. This is the first glimpse, not face, but appearance of Kingpin in the MCU.
Right, but we'll get to that in a minute on what I think about that, and also too, I might have. You know how you told me to hold my anticipation.
What
I'm gonna, yeah,
for this show or for Spider Man?
for
Because I've done
Spider
that.
Man.
Yeah, about
So
him showing up in Spider Man.
no, 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 no. I'm gonna get to it in a minute. I'm just teasing it for a second. But
Okay.
I liked how Maya is reading the lips, analyzing the teacher, is able to read her lips, and also too doing her homework while the teacher is talking, and then also too, then you wind up seeing her do the karate class, and in this karate class, which I call like super villain karate dojo class, which the father didn't have any money to send her to children for deaf, but he can send her to a karate class to to defend herself. But still, um, I liked how she's looking at the kid, and the kid thinks he's big and bad and everything, and all of a sudden she's looking at his footwork. She's analyzing the footwork, the pattern, and then once that winds up happening, she winds up taking the kid down, and then of course that's where her uncle comes in, and we see that glimpse that Charlie was talking about. Now, I do think that Kingpin is in this show and is in the MCU. At the same time, I'm like, I need to pump the brakes just a little bit because don't forget, we thought it was Mephisto in WandaVision. We thought that Kingpin was going to show up in uh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He doesn't show up, but we thought he would show up there. But this one, I'm going to say that he might be in it. if he is in it, I don't think it's going to be the same Kingpin that we knew from the Netflix series. I'm thinking this is a Kingpin that's already been in the underground crime organization, and also too has also sparred off with Daredevil with Matt Murdock. And I think with the blimp of Thanos' snap, that's how he was rising up from to power, because there was no one there to stop him. There's no other villains or anything like that at that time, I don't think. But that's an easy way for him to go ahead and climb the ranks into the underground organization. Because also too, I'm sure that there was not enough police officers to probably even stop him either. So that's just my theory on that. But am I excited to see Kingpin? Yes, I am. I'm excited to see Kingpin again. D'Onofrio does a fantastic job at playing Kingpin. I think he's back in it.
So again, for WandaVision, I never figured it was Mephisto anyway. Again, I didn't know who Mephisto was, so I wasn't a part of that group, and I knew, why would he show up in WandaVision? It doesn't make sense. I thought he's going to show up. Potentially, he's the power broker in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Still could be. Again, there's still so much no. Maybe Sharon Carter is working undercover to take him down under orders of Fury. There's still he still could exist in that, and maybe they wanted to wait. I mean, what other character in Hawkeye looks the way that Kingpin does? It has that big brooding figure. No one has that figure like Kingpin. So I think it's him. It's like it's definitely him. Like I'll ride that train. I think it's Kingpin, and I think we may not see his face the whole show, but we'll see him. And that's the thing. It's just like that, because again, third time's the charm. This is the third series that he was supposed to show up. Well, then, like, for me, this is the second series, because I didn't buy into anybody saying he was going to show up in WandaVision, because why would he? It doesn't fit him. There's a lot of mystical elements, supernatural. It's not him. He's more of the grounded kind of a guy that whatever, he will beat you with a door. He would chop your head off with a door. Yeah, I know we're not going to get the same character, but he's still going to be the tough brute. And I mean, look, like his character in Daredevil, he didn't do much fighting till the very end of the movie that we know of. So right. I mean, I think if we get any character of it, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Insomniac, from like the inspiration from Insomniac Spider-Man, because Kingpin was in that game and he was he was very powerful. Yet, be it from jail. Spoiler, anyway, hasn't played the game, but he was in the game and he was very tough, and he had influence in everything, every aspect of this. So, I think it's I think it's definitely him, because it only makes sense because it's based off the comics. That is Maya's uncle. It's Kingpin. It's by the comics, and then the Russian, like the tracksuit mafia, also in the comic books. So they might be goofy and like incoherent, like and they've been longtime villains of Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. It's fitting in the comics. I think that's just the way they are. They're idiots. They're kind of like the henchmen, but they're iconic henchmen because they're in the comics, and they're foes of Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. So, I think there might be a reasoning to their ineptitude, but I think that's the point. Until because Kingpin is not happy with them, so that's probably why he's sending them out to die, because he knows, like, okay, I can get better people.
Right, but as far as now, here's the thing. I know that this is a Disney Plus show and stuff like that, but when we see, when we wind up seeing Echo's dad and his goons being taken down and everything, you do see, I saw a blade going through somebody, and therefore you can still have the same violence that you got on Netflix. It's just not going to be as graphic. It's just not going to have that blood splatter or anything like that. And to me, you don't really need to have that to show it. And just to show the blade going in was enough for me to say, oh, okay, they went a total different route than what I thought they would actually go in, and they actually showed it. So I thought that was actually pretty cool to actually see that on a Disney Plus show, and I like that. but also too, another thing I want to mention is this. Um, Once the interrogation starts happening with Maya, with Hawkeye, I said, "Well, where's Ronan at?" And Hawkeye's like, "Well, he's dead." He goes, and what about Black Widow? She's dead too. So convenient. The people that only knew about Ronan, who's dead, are dead themselves. So there's no way of actually proving that his story is true or not. And so what I'm thinking is the fact that Hawkeye Clint is Ronin, because clearly we saw that on Endgame, and therefore he's keeping that a secret. But I'm thinking, in a sense, Ronin is dead, and Ronin is dead, but spiritually dead, because he is, in fact, Clint, and because of the fact that Black Widow was the one who winded up saving him from his own self destruction in Endgame. So therefore, Ronin is dead. So therefore, I don't think he's lying. He's telling the truth. He's dead. He's not coming back. But to Maya, he's coming back. But I like the battle between Maya and Clint and stuff like that too, and the fact that Clint is deaf and has hearing loss. I thought that was really interesting. And then during the tussle, his hearing aid comes out. But I also like how she brings up the fact you rely on tech to. I don't rely on tech. I rely on visualization. I rely on what the person is going to do and stuff like that. So I like that. What about you?
To go on your point about the knife, I didn't see the sword go right through the guy. Um, again, the Disney Plus has been able to get away with a lot, especially with like, I mean, you forgot the bashing of the head with Captain America's shield and Falcon and Winter Soldier, where that was full on blood. Like when he decapitated the guy, you saw that clean that like, and that was Disney Plus. So they're able to get away with stuff on that. Like again, I didn't see the sword at all happen. Really, it was like a really fast sequence of him doing the sword. Again, I might not have been paying attention, but I didn't see any sword go right through him. But I mean, if they did, I wouldn't say that's the most violent thing they've done on Disney Plus.
But
Rent a cop, Captain America bashing the guy's head in with the skull, like that with the shield, and you see the remnants of blood on Captain America's shield. That's gonna stay with me for a while because Disney Plus doesn't usually do that, and they did that with the Falcon Winter Soldier. But yeah, I like the conversation. It was entertaining, and especially because yeah, you're right. Ronan is dead, and he's like, who did it? Black Widow, but she's dead too. But she doesn't say Maya knew, like Maya's knew, but Black Widow's dead. So where'd that come from? He goes, I was with her. So he's kind of like leaning in, like kind of like bringing about like that he was with her at an Endgame towards the very end. And and you're right. Black Widow was technically the one that killed Ronan because it's all in his head. The idea of Ronan is is everybody's head, and it's the costume. Anybody can put the costume on; they can be Ronan. That's the problem.
Right, and also too, I have a theory about something real quick. What if Ronan, aka Clint, was working for Kingpin? He was just a person for hire, but instead of confronting with Kingpin, somebody just hires him out to be a hired gun and doesn't tell him who the person is that's hiring him.
Potentially, again, I don't know. I mean,
right, it's just hypothetical.
Yeah, well, again, it's potential again because we don't really know. That's the thing. We didn't see much of Ronan in Endgame. We just heard he was killing people, and then when you find out it's Clint with the mullet back with the hair mullet, like
with Mohawk.
The Mohawk, yeah. But still, I mean, we don't know much of Ronan. We just know everybody's really scared of him, and Clint wants to really like kill it, like literally kill it, like throw it off a cliff. Like Spider-Man, like Spider-Man's girlfriends, throw him off. Just that's how we get to him. We chuck his girlfriends. So that's essentially what Quentin wants to do with the Ronin costumes, destroy it. But yeah, and he's still trying to figure out like, was that the only thing that's being sold? And no, Ronin's sword is still out there, and it's by the Kate Bishop's uncle or stepdad,
Jack. Yeah,
Jack.
And this is another thing too. Maya still doesn't believe Clint. So what she do? She goes over to Kate, and Kate's thinking this is a game still. She doesn't understand the concept of how dangerous these people actually are. She's giving love advice to Demetrius, who's actually a tracksuit Russian,
Mafia.
who's telling her,
Yeah.
"Oh, go get Imagine Dragon tickets." Really? I should go get Imagine Dragon ticket?
Well, he
Yes.
was trying to get tickets. That was the thing. He was trying to
Yeah.
get tickets for his girlfriend already before Kate
Okay.
interrupted, and I think he was in the process of getting tickets um when his girlfriend called or
Right.
whoever.
But so then she's thinking it's a game. She's giving him love advice and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden Maya comes over there, chokes her. Then you have the concierge. That's what I'm calling him.
Hmm.
Basically, her handler. He says, "What are you doing, Maya? What the hell are you doing?" She goes, "Oh, this was her." No, that's not the person. It could be anybody. And so he's like, "I'm just doing what my dad would do." He goes, "Yeah, but your dad also um, looked out for our for us too. He wasn't just about himself. He looked up after the whole entire crew." So Maya has some growing to do on her own on how to handle the crew and mix her emotions and everything into something as well. But I like the motivation with Maya and the fact that she has someone close to her die in her arms, and the actor was so good at the very beginning. I mean, I almost shed a tear for the guy, and he was only introduced like less than 5 minutes into the film, and that's just great characterization. It's great writing to make me feel empathy for a character for only a short time, and empathy for a villain. But also, too, this also goes back to the fact, in Maya's eyes, Ronan's the villain. In Ronan's eyes, he's the hero. And it goes back to The Walking Dead where Carol and Daryl are talking. He goes, "Are we the hero in our story? We're the hero in our story, but are we villains in somebody else's story?" And I liked how that is also played out a little bit in Hawkeye as well, with the creativity with it. But as Maya is, while that's going on, Dimitri's talking, and then you have Clint trying to break out, and then finally breaks out, and then this huge battle, like I said before. His hearing aid comes out. They have this tug of war match. Then they're in this little hangar part of the warehouse, and they get the bow and arrow. But and then also too, it also reminds me of Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, where Clint goes into the ball pit and bazingas them. That's what I'm
Yeah,
going to call it.
with the
But
arrows. I thought the opening sequence was hysterical. Them on the kind of like the stuff you see in front of the grocery stores for the little kids. They're on the little horsies or the Rockies, and they're just sitting there like, "Oh, come on, we need to put more quarters in there. We want them to go again." Again, I thought that was. I mean, it
I
was
did
cheesy.
too.
It was hilarious. I think it was probably one of the best humors of the show so far. It's
Kind of
not
reminds you of
forced.
Deadpool though, with
Yeah,
him
it
on that
does.
rocket.
Yeah, it does remind you of Deadpool, and I think this is humor that's not forced. I thought it was funny because they're about to get interrogated, and yet they're making it kind of lighthearted because it's actually kind of funny. But no, that battle sequence was awesome. Like Hawkeye, like jumping on top of the shells, him being up, and then once he got that bow and arrow, he's just going ballistic on these people. He was really Legolas on these people, and and then the backwards like bow and arrow shot they gets on the guy's like coming up right behind him. He's not looking. The no look shot, like I thought that was like, and it was right in the guy. I thought that was great. I mean, that was a great sequence. But I think the sequence, like the visual effect, I love the most when he shot the arrow and you see the arrow go right through the guy's ear. I think it was it goes right through the ear and it cuts Kate's bracelets.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was like whoa, that was a really good shot. That was a cool shot, but it goes right through the guy's ear
Kind of
into the
grazes him a little bit.
yeah. It does, yeah, but it was like it happened so quick. It was like, whoa, did it hit that guy's ear? That was I mean,
Yeah.
Hawkeye is a badass with the bow and arrow. Like, I mean, there's no denying
Like
that.
let's look at the facts here. The Avenger, I think that he would have actually been able to take down the whole entire army of aliens and
If he didn't,
Avengers.
if he didn't run out of arrows.
Yep, if he didn't run out of arrows or anything. He is a badass. And
Yeah.
I think that Hawkeye is one of those characters who's like that's not really appreciated
Mm-hmm.
at all. But then we go into this other scene where they're running out of the warehouse, and Kate's like, "What about this? No, we're not going to touch the Challenger." You and
The
because it's
92
a classic
Challenger. No way.
Challenger. What
No
year was it,
way.
Charlie?
I think it was a 92 Challenger. Again, I don't
No,
know. Let me look it up.
nah, that's not 90. That's like 1970 or something like that with the Challenger. But then they wind up taking this other car, and then they go on this high speed chase. But I like the first person viewpoint of how the camera pan angles into the car and makes
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're riding with them versus just having a car chase scene. And I like the camera angle and and the way they did that. And also too, it kind of feels like that you're at Universal Studios inside a car and you're with these characters. So I definitely like how that was played out. And then of course, they have the Sugar Plum Fairy theme song and stuff like that too, being played as that scene's being played out. But I definitely like this for what it is. And then Kate's trying to shoot the arrow, and she can't get a clear shot because they're driving forward. And of course, keeps on telling her. Clint winds up telling her, "I am deaf. I cannot hear you." And some people were like, "Well, I think that took me out of it." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "I think that comedy works." But what about this? What did you think of the chase scenes and stuff?
Well, I thought it was great. No, I mean I love the car chase sequence. I thought it was great. I mean, especially the trick arrows. Like you don't know which one you're gonna get. Like again, and then I'm just reading up. Apparently, trying to read. There's some like I think it was a one take car chase. So I
Yeah.
think it only took them one try to do it, which I thought it's like 7 minutes. I think it was inspired by the iconic chase that first appeared in Matt. I think it's the exact car chase from it's inspired by the stuff that's in the comics. So again, this stuff is at
Mm.
let me
But yeah, it's a
see.
1970 Dodge Challenger,
Oh, okay. But
and
yeah,
that's the car that Kate wanted to take.
okay. But yeah, and then it turns out it was Maya's car that she wanted to take. So and then when you find out
Yeah,
she's the one that's at, but I mean, this the trick error is like play the putty one. I thought that was a great like that this the random trick shot errors. I think my favorite one and if anybody knows Ant-Man, one of the arrows was by Pym Tech, the giant arrow.
yep.
It's Hank Pym, Ant-Man. So
And you
that
see, I
arrow is
missed
all Ant
that the
Man.
first time I saw it.
Yeah, well, I noticed that too. That was the first time I saw it. I knew it was him once I saw Pym on the arrow itself. It was like Pym Technologies. I knew it was some Ant Man related, and it turned the arrow huge. So I thought that was a nice play because he always because like Ant Man always loved always like liked Hawkeye. He goes because I think it was like the two of them were a part of the Giant Arrow Part Two, like what during the Civil War fight sequence on the airport, like when Ant Man got on the Arrow, too. So it was a lot of just a lot of callbacks to Ant Man and Hawkeye. The two of them had kind of had a budding relationship. So, but this the two of them like yeah. So this reminded me so much of that. But yeah, that was a great car chase sequence.
Yeah, and then the foam. I like the foam part, and then she winds up getting this other thing that just doesn't even do anything. It's just a rubber
Yeah,
arrow,
plunger
and
arrow.
yeah, plunger. She goes, "Why do you have that? It doesn't serve any purpose." And then there's also another part where it's a USB drive arrow that he has,
Mm-hmm.
because remember, Kate winds up shooting the guy with the arrow after they wind up taking that arrow, the big arrow, and it
Mm-hmm.
goes in the back of the truck, causing the tailgate to explode. But I liked how whenever not Maya, but whenever Kate and Clint jump off the bridge, and of course they're using the plunger as a way to escape. Just,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's what that was for.
Yeah.
And then finally we get the on the subway car, and
Mm-hmm.
then they're just done. It looks like that scene from at the very first Avengers movie where they're just done. It's like FML, like
yeah. And then Kate says, "We gotta feed the dog. We gotta take him for a walk." And then Hawkeye's like, and then Hawkeye says something. He's like, "We gotta take the dog out. He's been stuck in the house for so long because he doesn't have his hearing."
To me, I think the hearing aid part works.
Yeah.
I know some people didn't like the hearing aid part, but I told them, look, I get the fact that it might be repetitive with the joking, but think of it like this: you have an uncle that just went deaf. He's not used to having a hearing aid, so therefore he forgets it at home. So therefore, you're thinking that he can still hear you, but you can't. But he can't hear you, so he has to keep on reminding you that I can't hear you. So I think it actually works. I think the chemistry between Kate and Clint works for this episode. If they do the rest of the season like this, I think the chemistry is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And then after that winds up happening, we wind up getting this other scene where Clint is trying to talk to his son, and he can't hear. And I like how caring Kate is and tries to help him. And he goes, "Oh, you're bored? I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry that you're bored. Look, I promise you, we're gonna do everything that we said that we were gonna do, and I promise I'll be home for Christmas. All right, buddy. I love you."
Yeah.
And then here comes Kate and tells him that's not what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really great to actually have someone that cares for Clint that would do that for him. And then they decide they're going to try and break into her parents' house.
Well, her mom's penthouse.
Yeah, the penthouse.
It's not Jack's yet.
No. And I don't think Jack's going to make it through the season, to be honest with you. I think he's going to die.
Well, for the next episode, we'll see.
I'm serious. My prediction is this: I think Jack is going to die. Norman's mother, because I forgot the name.
Vera Farmiga, I believe that's the actress's name.
Yeah. I think Kate's mom is the powerful one over here because she's the one with the money and Jack doesn't have any money. And all he's obsessed with is sword fighting. I think he just got that sword because of the fact that, yes, it was an underground thing. But I think that all he is a sword collector.
The mom is. You see all the swords in the penthouse.
Well, Jack is. I thought Jack was also a sword collector, though.
I think he just wanted the Ronin thing because I think he just wanted the Ronin sword because that's the underground. But in the very first episode, when you see the penthouse and how Kate's was always wondering about all the swords, it's like, and he goes, "Where'd you get all the swords?" Wouldn't surprise me if the mom actually killed the old guy.
Armin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Vera's gonna wind up killing Armin.
Well, she did.
Her. Huh?
Remember, she was the old guy that died in the that Kate found. That was the old guy that was trying to outbid Jack.
That's right.
And he was the old guy. He was the guy that was arguing with the mom about that Kate was overhearing.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
I wouldn't be surprised if the mom killed him.
I wouldn't be surprised either if that was like a whacking to kill Armin. But something tells me that's Fisk's place. I think that would be fit to me. I think it actually fits Fisk, to be honest with you, Kingpin.
Yeah.
For him to hold that auction there.
Yeah, and because again, we didn't see a lot of the mom after she got out of the building. She was wondering, where's Kate? And then there was no focus on that. Like after that part of where she went, and we just followed Kate, which is fine. But there's a lot we don't know what happened between after the event, and I'm pretty sure the mom being like, she can't be so dumbfounded. She runs a freaking security firm of the underground auctions. She's got to know some stuff. I mean, used to say that she might be dating Kingpin.
True. And one last thing I want to mention is there's the scene where it just cuts off.
Yeah.
Because they're actually going into the computer, looking at different files. Then finally, Clint goes over to the next room,
Mm-hmm.
and someone says, "What are you doing here?" Then all of a sudden, it just cuts to black.
Yeah, it's Jack. Jack's there with the
Yep.
sword because Kate was trying to log into something and she lost access.
You see,
And yeah,
sorry, man. Go on ahead.
yeah.
I want you to get your points out.
No, that
So
was it.
good.
I think it's like Kate lost access, and then she was calling for Clint, and then you see this like the blade of the sword right up by Clint's neck, and it's Jack holding it. What are you doing here? So that's how the episode ends. Again, it was a very quick episode. It was like
It
30.
was
It was like 35 minutes of content.
because of all the action sequences. I think that's why it was such a fast episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked it. But
I think the next episode is about to be just as long, about the same time.
I wouldn't be surprised. And here's the thing: I want to mention two things here. I still think Jack just likes to collect swords. I think he's the one who collects swords because otherwise, why would he hold a sword to some? I know it's like self defense, but
It's Ronan's sword. That's the
it's
one
Ronan's
that he.
sword.
Yeah, I think that's the only person that's. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but I
no, no,
think
no. Go on ahead, man.
that's the only sword I think he has that we know because we haven't seen his house. We haven't seen where he lives in his apartment. We just seen the mom's penthouse because that's the exact house where Kate's grew up in, and that's the exact house. And you see all the swords. I think
Right.
the mom's the sword collector. But go on, finish your point. Sorry.
No, no, no. It's perfectly fine, man. But here's another thing that I was really thinking about with as far as Kingpin goes. Like I said, I think that this is going to be a version of Kingpin that we haven't seen before. I don't think this is going to be the version that we saw from Netflix. I think this is going to be a different tone compared to Kingpin. And I'm excited to see him, but I don't want him to be introduced until like the last episode. Because I feel like if you put him in this episode and the next episode, it kind of stalls the rest of the season. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It kind of just slows it down a bit. And I'd rather it be left at the very end of it, show Kingpin, and that's it. Even if we don't see Kingpin's face or anything, just have like a cam to the back of him and he's talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I would want, to be honest with you, and be satisfied.
I think we're gonna get some. We're gonna start getting the credit sequences, like the clips. I think it's gonna be next episode. I think it's gonna start. It's got to start. Since we're at the halfway point. Like there's only 6 episodes in this whole show. I think we got to get something, and I think it's gonna be the next episode. I think we're gonna get Yelena, the sister. I think she's gonna show up the next episode.
I've been waiting for her to show up, and I thought she would actually show up in this episode because it connects with the Russians, even though the Russians always been in there the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I was thinking that they would hold off until the 3rd episode, but the 4th episode is probably where they would put her at.
4th or 5th. Like, don't do it the final episode.
No,
I think you got to do it now. Like, you got to do it sooner rather than later. Like, and like,
exactly.
hopefully she's understanding about what's really going on. Like, I hope her and Clint have a heart to heart, or in some sense, like Clint tells her the truth. Because I can't see her working for Val. Like, my name's Val, but but you can't say my name, Val, and my friends can say that, but then again, they can't. Like, I think it's perfect that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is Val, and she's the only one I can think of that can play that type of that. Like just the quick cuts of her saying her name, Val. I think she's perfect for that role, and that's why it was so cool to see her like when she showed up in Falcon Winter Soldier, and especially the ending of Black Widow, where she's fake crying about at the grave of Black Widow. Just her fake sneezing. Oh man, these places always get me sick. Like, I just thought that was like that. She's the only one that really can do like relieve the tension, but yet bring so much tension to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up in the final episode too, Val, because she seems to be showing up a lot lately. So. But yeah, I'm excited to see Yelena show up because she was absolutely fantastic in Black Widow. And if you haven't seen Black Widow, do it. She's fantastic. Florence Pugh, nailed it. Nailed the role as the sister. She's great in it. But yeah, I'm ready to see her.
But
Yeah, that was when that got me hyped for the show. Was at the post credit scene of Black Widow when you see Yelena get the see the image Clint, and I was like, oh crap, here we go.
you see, to me, her character needs to be shown up early, so the
Mm-hmm.
way they can have that confrontation, and then after the confrontation, you have time for healing, having some little small moments of
Mm-hmm.
opening up, and then you can actually have a team up with Kate, her, and Clint together. But I'm with you though. I thought we with the post credit stuff, I thought we would actually get it with this one,
Mm-hmm.
but we have 3 episodes left. I wouldn't be surprised if the next 3 episodes we actually get nothing but post credit scenes after that.
I hope so.
Me too.
I'm tired of them waiting until the second to last episode to start doing them. I'm ready for them like now. Come on, like where is this going? Where is this phase going? Like let's get somewhere. Let's get to it. Like I'm tired of waiting. Let's go.
I agree. So, any other thoughts that you wanted to talk about before we close out, or is that everything that you wanted to
No,
talk
I think
about?
that was about it. Again, that was a pretty quick. Like again, it was a very quick episode. And then like there, I mean, there was a lot to digest, but I think we covered it all. Like again, this one probably had the best action sequences. Like we haven't had a big action sequence in this whole show
No.
until now. Like the warehouse fight scene was like sequence was awesome. Like if you like bow and arrow, like Hawkeye being a badass, like going John Wick on everybody. Yeah, that's essentially what he did. And he even did a no like something John Wick never did, a no look shot, and it hits the guy like perfect aim. Like he's not even looking. He's just like and it just shoots the guy like this the no look shoot was just awesome and trick errors. Like I mean those are the highlights, and the car chase sequence was like well shot, like 7 minutes. It doesn't feel like 7 minutes, but it's like everything. It seemed like one continuous one take. Um, and I thought that, like, I mean, again, that stuff's really cool. But yeah, this is a much improved episode than the first 2 episodes combined. Like, you're actually enjoying yourself now. But can they keep it up? I hope so.
I hope so
We hope
too.
so.
I think we will. I think this is actually gonna be really good for the next 3 episodes. So with that being said, guys, that's gonna do it for tonight for our episode of Hawkeye season 1, episode 3. We hope that you go on ahead and check out the rest of the content that we have on our YouTube channel and stuff like that. Don't forget to do us a big favor. Smash that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner to allow you guys to know when we have something new coming out. And also, too, it also helps us out. But smashing that little bell in the bottom right hand corner allows you guys to know when we have something new. Smash the subscribe button definitely helps as well if you're into our show. Then, of course, guys, you guys can also go on ahead, get a audio only podcast episode of many of our episodes that we do here, wherever you guys get your major podcast from. Of course, go over to Good Pods, rate us over at Good Pods, give us a 5-star episode on Good Pods as well. Let us know what you think of our episodes, and then of course, guys, go on ahead, reach out to me at Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter, Movie Lovers Unit 0 on TikTok. Of course, if you want to donate to the page, all you have to do is go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. And then, of course, you guys can go on ahead and just, if you guys want to be on the show, just reach out to me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And, you know, you guys can go on and follow me underneath Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, underneath the same brand name on Pinterest and on Instagram. And always until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun. We can't wait to do this again. Thank you again, Charlie. I do appreciate you being able to do this review with me as always. And always until next time. Bye-bye.